Nefer, Akwaba, bienvenue. Tonight's Delene, Karibu Sana. We are going into the African Ancestral Manuscript Djeliba channel. Avant de commencer, un petit peu de sagesse de l'aîné de qui on va parler aujourd'hui. Si tu ne sais que tu ne sais pas, tu sauras. Mais si tu ne sais pas que tu ne sais pas, tu ne sauras jamais. Haché, Hampateba, Spirit, Great Fulani, Scribe, Storyteller, Djeliba GRIOT. We got to give honor to him. Sankofa. Let's go back. Draw from all the wisdom. Puiser dans la sagesse de nos aïeux pour nous projeter dans l'avenir à pleine force. Let's go back and dig into the wisdom of our ancestors to project ourselves into a magnified and divine future. That's the only way we're going to be able to overcome. We need the wisdom of our ancestors. We need Sankofa. Sankofa to one and all. Listen to me. Tous mes internautes, on a besoin de Sankofa pour revenir en arrière, pour nous projeter vers notre avenir divin. So, my name is Blind Tibin. You're tuned into the Djeliba channel, the African Ancestral Djeliba channel. Once again, my book, Broken Coconuts on Our Grandmother's Grave, is available wherever books are sold, from Amazon to Target to Book Depository to Walmart.ca, online anywhere, or if you're in the GTA, link me, you can pick it up and it'll be signed. Today we're going to go into the story. Before I tell my story, as I always do from the tradition of Sierra Leone, Yunakusha Yunakabo, we day with you. On est ensemble. On est together. We day together. Not to come on together, say we day together. Then we waiting again for talk. Ow. The story today is about Hampateba, the great storyteller. Si tu ne sais que tu ne sais pas, tu sauras. Mais si tu ne sais pas que tu ne sais pas, tu ne sauras jamais. Amadou Hampateba is a Malian writer and ethnologist. Born in Bandiagada in 1900-1901, and he passed away on May 15, 1991, in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire. Amadou Hampateba was born in May 1900 and 1901 in the Bandiagara capital of the Dogon country. He was born in the Dogon, you know that's a good sign, and former capital of the empire of the Masina Tukulur. Hampateba was a descendant of a noble Fulani family. After the death of his father, he was adopted by the second husband of his mother, Amadou Alitiam Tijani, a man from the Tukulur ethnic group. He first attended Quranic school of Cherno Bokar and became a dignitary of the Brotherhood of Tijaniya before being commandeered to act for the French school Djenne in Bandiagara. Then in 1915, he ran away to join his mother, Kati, where he resumed his studies. Very interesting so far. In 1921, he refused to enter the normal school in Gore. As punishment, the governor assigned him to Ouagadougou in Burkina Faso, which back then was the Upper Volta, as a temporary writer. From 1922 to 1932, he held various positions in the colonial administration in the Upper Volta of Burkina Faso, as I had indicated, and until 1942 in Bamako, the capital of Mali. In 1933, he obtained a leave of 6 months that he spent with Cherno Bokar, his spiritual leader. He had a spiritual sage, just like we have Shechem and Shechem, guiding him. In 1942, he was posted at the French Institute of Black Africa in Dakar, IFAN. He conducted professional comprehensive research at this time and collected oral traditions. So he collected a whole bunch of oral traditions, later went into the African Encyclopedia, UNESCO of African History. He then devoted 15 years to research on oral traditions in West Africa that led him to write the Fulani Empire of Masina. In 1951, he was awarded a UNESCO fellowship enabling him to travel to Paris and meet the Africanist community, including Marcel Griol, who did that book about Okotomeli and the Dogon. In 1960, Mali got its independence from the imperialist French, and Hampateba founded the Institute of Human Sciences in Bamako, that's the capital of Mali, and represented his country at the General Conference of UNESCO. In 1962, he was elected to the Executive Board of UNESCO, and in 1966, he participated in the development of a unified system for the transcription of African languages, so we could transcribe all the oral stuff into book form and preserve them better. In 1970, his term expired in UNESCO. After this, Amadou Hampateba devoted himself entirely to his research and writing. In the last years of his life, he went to Abidjan to classify its records accumulated during his life on the oral traditions of West Africa, as well as writings, his memoirs. Amukele Kulel, Child Fulani, great book, I have it. Amukelele, Child Fulani. Yes, sir, which was published after his transition to the ancestral realm on May 15, 1991. His life was a true testimony of the greatness of the African storytelling Djeliba traditions, of which he was a standard bearer. Ashe, ashe to that brother for being a storyteller like I am, a Djeliba, reconnecting us to our oral tradition, writing it down so future generations can live it, understand it, manifest it, and know that they came from greatness. Ashe, ashe, ashe to Hampateba. Si tu sais que tu ne sais pas, tu sauras. Mais si tu ne sais pas que tu ne sais pas, tu ne sauras jamais. Ashe to the wisdom of our ancestors. May we glorify their name and live according to their highest anticipations, fulfilling the accumulation of their wisdom on earth so that they can come back into the earth and they can be proud of what we had done, because our ancestors are beside us every day. It's time to Sankofa, to go back, restore Ma'at into our hearts and spirits and that of our children, and no longer leave them with the emptiness of Western civilization. Hampateba started it. Let's continue it with the Djeliba tradition. The African ancestral Djeliba is here to tell the story, our story from our perspective, so we can stay strong and united and free in our divinity. Ashe, ashe, ashe. I like to say Keru Nefer. I like to say Lala Salama, Odabo, Yunakushe Nakabo. Have a peaceful evening. Reflect on Hampateba. Pick up his oral traditions, his stories, his tales, his wisdom. It will glorify and illuminate your life. Ashe.